Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the next installment of SFI Live with Saffron for Intermediaries. It's good to see you all with us. We're just waiting for a few more to arrive, so we'll run through. I'm joined again today by Tony Hall and Holly Andrews. I'll let them introduce themselves in a second. Just to remember, this is an interactive webinar, so you can submit your questions to the two of them at any point, and I'll pick them up and slot them in as and when we can. Just fill in the chat box on the side. You can highlight that as a question. And we'll get this question put to the panel. We are here today to talk to you about Expat Buy-to-Let mortgages and the new products available from Saffron, so we will go into those. But before we do, I'm going to pass you over to Tony first to introduce himself, followed by Holly.
Yeah, morning everybody. My name's Tony Hall. I'm the interim head of mortgage sales at Saffron. I've been here since July, so new to Saffron, but over 30 years financial services experience and a strong background in specialist lending. My key responsibilities include leading and managing the Society's drive for sustainable mortgage growth, and that's through working in partnership with our extensive range of partners at Saffron for Intermediaries. My role also extends to other aspects of the Society's mortgage book, including ensuring that our existing customers are looked after, and also that our new open market mortgage advisor service, Saffron Mortgage Finders, operates as we want it to, and how we support people.
Thanks, Tony. Holly?
Hi, I'm Holly. I'm the Intermediary Team Leader at Saffron. I've been at Saffron for 5 years now and in our mortgage department for 4. We are currently quite a small team of BDMs, so there's 3 of us, but we are expanding with a new starter joining us next week and recruitment as well ongoing into 2021.
Brilliant. So just a reminder, we are taking your questions. So please use the chat box, which you're all doing, which is great. So do send across any questions you've got for the guys, whether that's on the Expat Buy-to-Let, where we're having a conversation about that in the first half. The second half of the webinar is over to you with your criteria questions. So Holly and Tony will be ready for those. So before we go any further, let's go straight into the Expat Buy-to-Let. We'll answer your questions as we go through. We've got a set of points that we're just going to bring up in the meantime. So, Tony, let's just discuss something that's obviously an incentive for Expat Buy-to-Let, and that is the current stamp duty holiday. So now's a really good time. Have we still got time to apply for an Expat Buy-to-Let mortgage and get it completed to be in before the stamp duty holiday ends?
Yeah, this is one that's kind of going the rounds at the moment. There's quite a bit of comment on it. So obviously the stamp duty holiday ends on the 31st of March 2021. So all transactions need to have been completed by then. So the average length of time, according to industry sources, from viewing a property to taking completion of it is around about 120 days, they're saying at the moment. So we're kind of on that cusp at the moment. So really by the end of December is probably when you really want to have that application in, or that offer made on that house. So that's probably the key time. And there's a lot of talk around or lobbying around extending that deadline, because we know there is going to be some pinch points. We know that conveyancers and solicitors are already flagging this isn't going to work. So I think it's an interesting one, but definitely right now there is still opportunity, and we very much welcome your cases.
Great stuff. So we've just found out something. We've done a bit of digging, and we found out that there's going to be an additional land tax for expats. Tony, do you have any insight into what this is?
Well, I'm not the expert, but I have seen bits on it. So obviously, as UK property, so there's a jump anyway. So before up to, or at the moment, up to 500,000 from the 1st of April, or on the second bit, you pay 3%. And then after between 500 and 900, it was 8%. Well, that's changing now, and you're paying 3% only on a property up to 125. It then rises to 5% up to 250. And then between 250 and 95, it's 8%. So it's quite a jump. And obviously add 2% more on for those buying outside of the UK. So yeah, but didn't know much about it. I'm not sure how much the market knows about it, but there's a definite increase in there. Again, big opportunity to get it in there before that 1st of April deadline.
Okay, we seem to be having a problem. It's all gone quiet apparently. So I'm just going to do, guys, stay with us. If you can hear me, stay with us. We're just going to reset and see what the problem is. Bear with us. I'll just send that to everybody. Let's redo this. Okay, everyone, so we are back and we have just reset. So if everyone could just push the reconnect button, it will reconnect us. So we will go over anything we miss if you do, but just let us know in the chat box if you can. If you can see and hear everything you need to hear, just let us know via the chat. Shall we carry on, guys, as if they can hear, and we'll see how we get on. So is Brexit going to have any impact on expat buy-to-lets?
Gosh, you know, I think if you ask the government that, they haven't got a clue. So I'm not quite sure what value I'll add. So the honest answer is I don't know. You know, I can only look at it from our perspective. We don't have any country restrictions. So from that side of it, I don't see it impacting us in our approach and our policy. But I don't know, you know, what the government might say or might do. So it's you know, I've not seen any articles or anything really talking about it. So yeah, watch this space really.
Okay, those of you who have still not got sound, if you just press reconnect, you will find that you can hear us. Everyone's come back to us now. You can hear it. So they did all miss the extra land tax, Tony. So we're going to have to go over that one more time.
Okay.
So obviously, I think we got as far as the extra for everybody else, but I think they're looking at the 2% extra for expats. Can you just go over that one more time for us?
Yeah, so with effect from the 1st of April, anybody buying a non-UK resident buying a property, a second property, will have to pay an additional 2% on top of the additional percentage you pay for buying a second property anyway. So, you know, people buying up to £925,000 from the 1st of April will go from 8% to 10%. So because the whole range is going up. So yeah, it's an additional cost for expat buy-to-letters to consider. Really,
well, quite interesting. I'd look into it, and buying now as opposed to on the 1st of April for an expat is actually up to a value of 200. If it's a house at value of £250,000, it's a £25,000 saving on tax, which is an incredible saving. So do bear that in mind, guys. That, you know, if you've got potential customers, now's the time to act.
Yes.
John just put a question to us. A couple of lenders have stopped lending to EU residents until Brexit is sorted. Where is Saffron on this?
I'll pass over to Holly on this one. Yeah.
No, so we haven't made any changes to our criteria. For us at Saffron, there is no country restrictions. We just don't tend to lend to areas that got active conflict or political tension. But we will cover that a little bit later in one of our questions. But no, we are still lending to expats in Europe. Okay.
Sure, we haven't done, Holly, put you on the spot. We haven't actually discussed the products themselves. Do you want to just quickly run through them to the guys? We blundered straight to talk about them, but didn't actually give them any insight into the products. So just want to explain the products you have available to them?
Yeah, of course. So our Expat Buy-to-Let range is designed for British nationals living and working overseas. We, as I mentioned, have no country restrictions. We have 2 products currently available. We have a 5-year fixed rate and a discounted rate available. They are available to first-time buyer, first-time landlords, as with our standard buy-to-let range as well. And our products are available on the website as well in detail.
Thank you. Hera, just to answer your question, the 2% applicable extra tax is anybody buying externally, so outside of the UK, on a property in the UK. So it is relevant to expats, not to people living in the UK. So the extra 2% is an expat fee. What I can do, if you want any more information on it, I can send across a link to the Gov website where you can find out all details about it and how it will affect your clients. So do feel free to let us know if you'd like that, and I'll send that across. Okay, let's go on with the next question then, Holly. Does the borrower need to have a UK bank account?
Yes, we do require the applicants to have a UK-based bank account so they can pay the mortgage direct debits out of. When looking at the credit profiles, we want to see that they've got an active credit footprint here in the UK, is one of the key factors for us on the Expat Buy-to-Let. So that's, having that UK bank account, we should be able to find something for them.
Brilliant. We're going to cover this, but as you've asked the question, Roger, we're going to answer your question. So, British-born and UK citizen working in Zambia, paid in US dollars, has a UK bank account and investments. He will be a first. There's a reason why I'm asking this. He'll be a first-time buyer. Does this fit with you?
Yes, it does. So one of the countries, Zambia, is not as developed as the rest of the world as a country itself. So one of the key things for us is that the positive in the case is that they are paid in the US currency. So we're not reliant on local currency fluctuations. We've got quite a steady currency at the moment with the US. So that's absolutely fine.
Lovely. So that answers your question, Roger. We've got another one from Paul Baker. This is quite long, bear with me. I have a retired client that has lived in South Africa for the last 20 years and has now returned to live in the UK permanently. They have dual nationality and are looking to purchase a buy-to-let property. They already own a buy-to-let property in the UK, which has recently been paid in full and is now unencumbered. I'm struggling to find a lender who will accept an application. Can Saffron offer any advice?
Yeah, so the key thing on this one will be how long they've been back in the UK for. It sounds like even though they're in South Africa, they have got an active credit footprint here in the UK still. So that's great. We'll be able to help on the credit search for them. The dual nationality is absolutely fine because they will have a British passport, so they'll have indefinite leave to remain here. Retirement income, the key thing on the retired client is where their with the retirement is where the currency is on it. So if it's a South African currency, then we wouldn't be able to help because we can't lend on foreign currency for buy-to-let applications, but we can on expat applications. So a little bit of a different criteria there for you. But yeah, if they are, it's an old UK pension, then that's fine. It will help us get to that minimum income requirement of 25,000 as well. So happy for you to give us a ring on that one and we can run through the case in a little bit more detail.
I think that's right, vitally important. I know we were going to cover this a bit later on, but for those of you who haven't worked with Saffron, haven't been on the webinars before, Tony, you do have a fair amount of flexibility with regards to underwriting, don't you? You have a very on-case situation. Is that correct?
Yeah, very much. As I said, we are manual in our underwriting approach, and that doesn't mean that everything's manual. We're online and we use technology to enable humans to make the right decision. So we have a flexible policy, and so if ever a case you're not sure about, give the team a ring, because we will give you a straightforward answer on it, and we will take cases that don't necessarily fit our policy and have a conversation with the underwriters. And if it makes sense, we can actually bespoke our interest rates or our fees to match the potentially higher risk that the case brings us. So we are really able to look at every case that you want to chuck at us, really.
Okay. Martin Brady's asked a question as to whether you can accept this on a new build.
Yes, so new build houses up to 75%, and new build flats, if you're looking at on an interest-only basis, which the product is designed on, then you will be looking at 60% for new build flats.
There we go. Somebody has missed the product outlines again, Holly. So sorry to pick on the spot again. Could you just go through them one more time for us?
Yeah, of course. So the Expat Buy-to-Let range is designed for British nationals living and working overseas. We have no country restrictions, and we allow first-time buyer, first-time landlords on this particular product. And what we will be looking at is they proving their income overseas. So we do have a minimum income requirement of 25,000, but we don't have a requirement that they need to work for a multinational or blue chip company. What you will be looking at is that they can just verify their income, whether that's employment or self-employment.
Brilliant. That answers another question for Sue. So Sue, we've answered that as part of that part there. Excuse me. Just to let everyone know, I'll send out the SDLT link to absolutely everybody that's registered and has joined us today, just so you can go onto the Gov website and find this tax. It seems to be kind of hidden quite nicely and not been talked about much. So I'll send you the link across to the Gov website so you can all review it yourselves and update your clients. Do you lend to expat limited companies, Holly?
We don't currently lend to expat limited companies, no.
But it is on our list, just to make sure. We don't at the moment, but we have received that feedback already and are working on it.
Great stuff. We'll obviously let you know as and when that happens, and keep everybody updated. Well, questions coming in thick and fast here, guys, so I'm just going to work my way through them before we go back to the ones we've had pre-submitted. So Alistair's son is living in Australia, paid in Australian dollars. Mother, unfortunately, could die soon. Can we remortgage her buy-to-let flat when he inherits it? It has a mortgage in her name, or would you treat this as a purchase?
So if the client was to inherit it from the mother, then we can consider on a day one remortgage as soon as probate has been granted.
So Alistair, I hope that answers your question. I think, Steve, you've asked about the blue chip company question. I think Holly answered that in her criteria chat a little while ago. Okay, this is another long one from Helen. I haven't read it through, so bear with me, guys. I hope I portray it right. I'm a first-time buyer, currently UK resident. Client has accepted a new job starting in February, which should be based in New York, but has been working from home in the UK since, as unable to relocate currently. She's looking at buying a buy-to-let in the UK as an investment, but at some point we're moving to the US and will be eventually paid in US dollars. Would this be acceptable?
So at the moment, it's a difficult one because she's just between the move. So obviously we don't know when the lockdown restrictions or when that move will be. So currently as an application, if she is paid in sterling, then she would go on the standard buy-to-let range. But if she was to apply as soon as she's relocated, then of course it'd go on the expat buy-to-let range. So it's just one at the moment that we can consider, but it's finding the right product. So what I'd recommend on that one, again, is just giving me a chat after the webinar, call after the webinar today. We can go through it and just work out where they are from there.
Okay, because everyone knows you can find all of the contact details on the Saffron for Intermediaries website, so do pop on there, you can get all the telephone numbers and email and access that you need. Can you consider HMOs on a remortgage? It's completely off topic, but I just thought I'd throw that one in because it's the next question.
So at the moment, we didn't come back. When we came back with our buy-to-let range in October, we didn't come back with our HMO products. We just wanted to come back with the standard range to begin with. However, we are hoping that that one will be in the pipeline in the near future.
Lovely. So I'm just going through these. Okay, so this is quite a long one from David Sugden, so bear with me, Holly. This one's coming to you. With new builds, do you have a specific list of accepted build warranties? I have a buy-to-let case, new build case, that needs to complete in December, but lender originally applied for, not happy with the warranty being with a firm called AEDIS. Can this warranty be accepted by you guys, and can your timescales meet a December completion?
So with the warranty, it isn't on our list of approved, but it doesn't mean that we can't consider it. What we'd have to do is refer it back over to our underwriters with a little bit more information around it. It's just one that we can consider warranties that aren't on our current panel. We just have to get it checked out with our underwriters. So definitely worth raising that one with us. And the December deadline, we can work to deadlines, but that of course is December's scarily only 2 weeks away. So it would just be dependent on how quickly we can get all the documents into us. Our timescales over the last 6 weeks have reduced. So you're looking at a DIP refer to be assessed within 48 hours, and some we are seeing quicker at the moment. And then for your documents to be assessed and picked up by our processing team and underwriting team, you're working at an 8 working day turnaround on those. So we have brought them down since sort of earlier in the year. Lockdown affected our service levels as well as the first time buyers. So yeah, we've seen some real improvements in the last few weeks.
Okay, got another question for you. Would you consider a portfolio landlord, and what are the limits?
Yeah, so a portfolio landlord we can consider. We deem them as a portfolio landlord if they have 4 or more mortgage buy-to-let properties. So lending with us at Saffron for a portfolio landlord is a maximum of 10 properties or £1.5 million worth of borrowing. But in the background, the properties can be unlimited. The key thing for us is that the background portfolio meets a rental stress coverage of 125% at their pay rate, both individually and collectively. What we do have on our website is a really handy Excel spreadsheet. So you can transfer all the data of the portfolio into that spreadsheet, and it'll automatically calculate those details for you and work out the percentage coverages.
Well, that's available on the website now.
Yes, it is.
Okay, going on to questions again. So feel free to answer, whoever feels they can answer. John Emmett, a lender has just declined a buy-to-let, having had the application 7 weeks. As the applicant has had a haircut on salary, it was 60% in March, now 90%, and full salary in January 2021. Ludicrous decision as the main lending assessment on rental income. Haircut on salary okay with Saffron?
Yeah, so lovely to hear from you, John. But we can consider the benefit that you've got is if you have got the information from the employer to say that their salary will go back up to normal in January, then hopefully we could work off the return to work salary in January. If not, we'll work off what they're currently on now. What our key thing is that we can see on a buy-to-let application that they've got the minimum of £25,000 worth of income, and they can cover rental voids and property maintenance as well as fund their own lifestyle. So that's the key thing for us.
Brilliant. Neil Ambrose, would you consider new build a flat in a high-rise building of 60 floors?
Unfortunately not. Our maximum number of stories is 6. However, we have considered over this in the past. It just depends on the location. So city centre locations of high rises were more likely to consider, but it's just worth referring any properties of that size to us. I think the most I've probably seen recently is about 25 floors.
Great stuff. The very case specific, these ones, another one coming through from John Green. I have an expat who wants to remortgage her buy-to-let in London above a commercial premises, a small cafe. She inherited the property 12 years ago, but rented it out for at least 11 years.
Yep, so for us, our criteria, if the property is above a high-risk commercial, so a food premises, restaurant, or a property with high footflow of traffic with customers, then we wouldn't be able to consider. The difficulty that you've got with the cafes, that does fall into that criteria because they'll have the council band in for the licenses, so we wouldn't be able to consider that one.
Okay. There's one for you, Tony, on the current rates. Found your rates on the website. Are you looking to improve the rates and fees? It's fairly heavy for the expat market. The products earlier in the year were much more competitive.
Well, we continually assess our market position with rates and fees, etc. So there isn't any plan right now to increase our rates or reduce our rates because we feel that in the market that we're in, that's the going rate where we want to sit. However, I will take that away, and we meet daily looking at our product portfolio and looking at what we can do to support and help. So we'll take that on board. But right now we are where we are with it and are comfortable with the rates that we're charging.
Thank you. Just so you all guys know, you've all got the hang of the chat box. We've got loads of questions coming in. If I have missed your question, they are flowing really quickly. So if I have missed your question, because I'll get loads of private ones in, do repeatedly ask them until I get to you. So we're not deliberately ignoring you. It might just slip through the cracks. So just please resubmit if you have submitted a question. Okay, Holly, one for you from Nadeem. Is there a minimum self-employed period required for expat buy-to-let?
Yeah, so with our policy, we do allow self-employment with just 1 year. The key thing for us is looking at their shareholding and the income that they've received. And for shareholders, so we'll treat them as self-employed if they have a 20% or above shareholding within that business.
Okay. One from Nathan. I have clients based in Nigeria. Most of them are paid in dollars, but some are in the local currency. Can we look at all of them?
So Nigeria is on the sanctioned countries list, so it isn't one that we would a country that we consider as standard. However, as I mentioned earlier, with the currency, if it is in a foreign currency such as US dollars, then we might be able to consider further, just because the currency, how static that is. So the ones that are paid in local currency is definitely a no. However, the ones that are paid in a foreign currency, please refer over to us because we can see if we can help.
I hope that helped, Nathan. Ryan Radford, hi. Is it just one active UK credit, i.e. a bank account, or do they need to have more?
Ideally, what we're looking for is just to see a credit profile for them. So one active credit line. We don't have a set specific amount of credit lines that they do need to have. We're just what we can find. We want to see how they have managed their finances. Okay.
Steve's directed this straight to you, Holly. Steve Kins as per... Hi, Ollie. What's the maximum age application, and is there any criteria wriggle room if needed?
Yep. So with our maximum age, one of the key things that we say at Saffron is there is no maximum age. We do look at a maximum term based on ONS statistics. So if the case was to go over the age of 75, you're looking at retirement income and provable retirement income. Anything before then we can look at working income. What we do say, though, is if they have a manual job role, is to cap the term at their 70th birthday. And part two of that question was...
is there
any wriggle room?
That's really hard to say.
Always have a chat. So in the BDM team, you've got myself, Holly, and then you've got Debbie and Sophie. So always give us a chat through on a case if it is a little bit more complicated, see if there's any movement. We'll be quite honest in cases that we've seen previously that have gone through, or chances that we think it's going through. We work so closely with our underwriters at Saffron, usually in the office when we are in, they are a stone's throw away. And they still can't get away from us because we're constantly badgering them on our internet system when we need help. So they, we work really closely with them. So anything we need to go through, they'll happily sit and chat with us.
While Holly's mentioning underwriters, we've got a little bit of an announcement at the end of this webinar. So stick with us to the end, and we'll explain that a little bit later on, a little tease. So from Borislava, Holly, for an expat buy-to-let, what is the maximum percentage of shareholding for you to class the client as employed? My client has 25% of the company at the moment, but reducing to 21% at the end of this month.
Yeah, so to be treated as employed, it'll be shareholding 19% and under, 20% and over, it will be self-employed.
Brilliant. They're coming, they really are coming in thick and fast. So this is from Anthony Anderson. Expat lives on SIPP pension, wants to purchase buy-to-let in the UK. Can the deposit come from the SIPP? And how does the reduced value of the SIPP affect affordability?
Yep, so SIPs slightly different. What we have to look at is their age and when they turn 100. So the tax-free cash lumps for any pensions we can take as a form of deposit. But what we're looking at is the pension pot value and how long it is until the applicant turns 100 to then work out a percentage of how much of the SIP value that we can take. So I've got to check my mental maths on this one. So for a 75-year-old, hang on.
I don't want to trip up on maths.
Yeah, the essentials, everybody. I don't want to trip up on this one. Bear with me. So it's the one bit I didn't have open today, as you all know. So you'll be looking at if there's 40 years until, I'll use this example. If it's 40 years until they turn 100, you're looking at 2.5% that we will take. 20 years is 5%. If you've got any
specific questions, feel free to contact Holly on the team. I'm sure they'll give you a more specific answer. Sorry to trip you up there, Holly.
Yeah, that's all right.
I've got a secret Santa sorted now. It's a calculator. It's all good.
Keith, I can't find your question. Could you resubmit it privately for me, and I'll make sure I put it to the guys. Okay, so we're on to David Sugden. On a maximum loan for expats, can you go up to or over $1 million?
Yes, we can go over $1 million. However, it is on a bespoke basis. So it would be a bespoke pricing on the current expat buy-to-let rate. And it would just be case dependent on how big the loan size is. But you just refer it over to us and we can give you sort of an indication of the figure size. But yes, we do bespoke pricing on expats too.
Brilliant. Do you allow gifted deposits on expat buy-to-let?
Yes, we certainly do. We allow gifted deposits from immediate family members, and we allow that throughout our product range.
Brilliant. Just go through who are close family members for us. Another trip.
Right. You guys are testing me today. So.
I'm joking. Go on. You've got
We've got mother, father, grandparents, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, and we do allow step and adoptive parents and grandparents as well.
I think that was the bit we were looking for, the step and adoptive. So yeah, we got that. I should have just asked that. Okay, so Carlos has got a new client, a first-time buyer, first-time landlord, looking to purchase her mum's property, so a concessionary purchase. Are you able to help? To give some background, as an expat lending case, client lives and works in Dubai as English teacher on 16,000 UAE even per month, which is roughly 3,283 per month, so 39k per annum.
Yep, so the one key thing on that one is the transaction would need to go through at full purchase price, so full market value if there is any gifted equity elements on that. But the one thing that we would say is if the mother is still going to occupy the property, it will be treated as expat regulated. So although they meet the criteria of where they're located, we need to see regulated expat buy-to-lets being paid in sterling at this moment in time. So we wouldn't be able to consider it if the mother's still going to occupy the property upon completion.
Okay, thanks, Holly. Keith, finally got your question. There we go. Right, sorry, Keith, I'm so sorry. I don't know how I missed the last one. So Keith has a client who's just received an offer from Saffron. Can I do another mortgage for him with Saffron? And can I use the existing documents you already have, as it was only issued last week?
So for an application, we will require that you cross-reference them. However, we do need the documents re-uploaded. It could be that they some of the documents might be slightly out of our 3-month requirement. You can cross-reference, so of course an underwriter can see the notes on the previous case, see if there's any specific things that we need to look out for, but we do require the documentation to be uploaded again. Okay,
I missed a question from Gemma Joy. I'm going to send this one to Tony this time, because Tony's getting an easy ride today. Are there any expat fixed 2 or 3 year products likely anytime soon?
Right now, it's no is the answer. It's not been on the list, but we are, as I said earlier, we constantly review, and we are actually doing a review of our whole expat range at the moment. So if we see a demand in those areas, particularly, I mean, 3 year, there isn't much demand for 3 year products in the market anyway, but certainly 2 year, if there's demand for that, we can certainly explore that one. So I will take that one away, and you'll find out if we launch something. But so thank you for that feedback. That's useful.
I think it's safe to say with the market as it is now, products are up and down at the moment anyway, as things calm down in 2021. With the optimism we've got as we go into 2021, hopefully it'll start to calm itself down a bit. From Stephen Pears, do you have a solicitor panel for expats? If not, what is the requirement for solicitors to act?
Yep, so we do have a panel, but we don't specify that it's specifically for expat. It's just a whole application panel. If they are on panel, the main criteria is that they need to have 2 SRA approved managers and can be found on the Law Society website. You can check if solicitors on panel by contacting our processing team. I can give their number now actually while we're on. So it's 01799 582 966, and you select option 1, and they will be able to tell you whether the solicitor is on panel or not.
For those of you that didn't catch that, I typed it as Holly spoke, so it's in the chat. So feel free to review that. Okay, question from Roger Marlowe. If the 75th is the next birthday, I presume of a client, not Roger, still working and no intention of retiring, would you accept state pension even though he is not drawing at the moment, as he doesn't need to?
Yep, so what we can work out is we will look at pension projections. What we say is we can't work off a projection more than 5 years away. So that's one of the key things. So we just need to see the latest pension document for the state pension.
Okay. Tracy's just gone back on Stephen's question a bit on the UK process agent. Can this be reviewed as many solicitors will not consider taking this on? Can a UK resident family member or UK accountant be considered?
Unfortunately not. There's one key thing on our criteria that we haven't yet to cover. So this is the condition of the offer to nominate a UK solicitor to act on their behalf in the event of mortgage default. So if the customer is to default on the mortgage, we'd send all our correspondence to the solicitor. That's one of the key special offer conditions, and we always say have a look out for it at the very beginning and check with the solicitor, because sometimes offer condition, it can pose an issue to us. At the moment, we are pretty strict on the UK solicitor, being the one that we serve notice to, but of course we can take that feedback away and see if there's any room to manoeuvre in the future.
Okay, hope that answers the question. Mitesh has just asked for an email and contact number for the BDM team. He's finding it quite hard to get through. So Holly, do you want to read the number out to me and I'll type it in?
Yeah, of course. It's 01799
Yep.
582 925. Now, if you can't get through to us, please do bear in mind we are only 3 at the moment, so we are receiving a high volume of calls. But if you can't get through, please do leave a voicemail because we can't see missed calls without a voicemail being left. And as soon as we've got it, our turnaround times is we try to call back within an hour at the very most.
Do you have a generic email address for the BDM team? Or
yeah, it's BDM.
BDM.
.enquiries at saffronbs.co.uk.
I spelled that right, I did. Okay, guys, so that contact number and email address is in the chat, so feel free to take a note of that and plug it on your desktop so you don't lose it. So, Mitesh, that's the information you needed. Gemma, again, are you ever venturing into expat residential? I have a lot of one parent and children coming back, and the major earnings still expat.
So at the moment, it's one of those products that we are talking through, however, not something that we currently offer. There's a lot of product development for Saffron coming into 2021. So we do say just keep up to date with our changes. That's definitely feedback that we take away. If anybody ever does see any gaps in our product criteria or anything that they want to run through with us that they, as a suggestion, they think will be good, get in contact with the BDM team, because we love hearing from you and getting feedback as well. And, you know, the key thing for us as a BDM team is we're the ones chatting to you every day, and we're the ones that get your feedback. So, you know, we work closely with our product team and our underwriting team. So, you know, things are listened to. First time buyer, first time landlord. When it came out as our criteria maybe 2 years ago, that was from broker feedback. And, you know, it was great. It was a real success for the BDM team. So, you know, we do take it on board and we do listen. So anytime you want to have a chat through anything, anything Saffron related, just give me a ring, and the team, and we're always happy to chat.
That's a really important message, Tony.
Well, can I just add to that as well? Is if we do communicate our changes and progress with all our registered advisors. So if you're not registered to use the Saffron's portal, please register yourself, and then once we've got your details, you'll be included in all our communication. So again, you can go onto the website and click on register, and that'll take you through to the straightforward process. So I would just urge you to do that if you're not already registered.
Anyone that's not been on recently, there has been a massive update to the Saffron for Intermediaries website, hasn't there? So there's more and more on there and stuff. So do feel free to take a look, as Tony said. Okay, Gemma Joyce returned with another question on the Consumer Expert Buy-to-Let. Did you say you need to earn salary in Great British pounds?
So slightly differently, with the regulated buy-to-let where family members living in the property, it's sterling. When it's consumer buy-to-let, we look at it slightly differently. So we definitely look at the rental stress testing, but we look at their affordability as if it was based in UK currency. So we'll just do the conversion. So just slightly different. It's just the wording that we use on it. So regulated buy-to-let where the family's in the property, it has to be sterling. But consumer buy-to-let where they previously lived in the property, we'll just look at stress testing, and then we'll just check out viability for affordability based on currency conversion. Okay,
Lisa, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, has submitted a question. Could you look at LTV scenario? A client based in Hong Kong and in US dollars wants to remortgage an existing UK property, which will become a let property, in order to fund a new residential property for the family.
Yep, so we can consider that scenario. We do allow capital raising on a buy-to-let property for onward purchase. It would be a consumer buy-to-let, so it would be that stress testing and based on affordability. But yeah, we can help capital raising for property purchase on the Expat buy-to-let range as well.
Alistair Norton, do you do regulated buy-to-let? Can family members reside where the client isn't expat?
Yeah, so we do offer the expat regulated buy-to-let when it's a family member living in the property, but if it's a close family member, just run it through with us as the team. We just need to get a little bit more on that one to work it through, see what we can do on that.
Okay, guys, thanks for all your questions. We are getting through them as quick as we possibly can. As soon as we ask one, I get 2 more in. So we are getting through them as quick as you can. If you do need anything repeating, or you think I've missed you, do just type your question in again, and I will get around to it. Do you offer product switches after the initial DV or fixed rates to avoid SVR?
So at the moment we do, yes, but we only offer it internally with our existing customer team. We don't have the system capability, but as of 2021, hopefully that will be something that we will be able to launch with. So at the moment, we just recommend that the customer does get in contact with our existing team they will be contacted. We do have a contact strategy anyway. But yeah, currently at the moment, switches, we just don't have the system capability just yet.
Perfect. Okay, so we're going back to solicitors again. Sorry, guys, we seem to be going around the topic and coming back, but we're doing it based on when the questions come in, so bear with us. Do you have a list of the solicitors we discussed earlier? This proved a massive issue for Russell on a case this year.
So we don't have a list of panel lists that we can give out, just because there's multiple, and of course the panel changes all the time, with ones being added and ones being removed. So what we recommend is that always get in contact with us. The BDM team can check the solicitors panel, but your processing team are the best people to speak to about it, just because they have full access. Expat buy-to-let solicitors, we don't recommend them, because when we've previously done, they then inundated just because of how many expats that we do. So what we say is a good old Google search usually brings up expat buy-to-let solicitors. There's pages and pages of it. Should give you a little bit of help to begin with.
Okay, thanks, Holly. Okay, I know the answer to this, but I'm external, so I need to get you to answer the question for me. It's from Richard. Hi, client came back to the UK from France in January. He wants to do a limited company expat purchase, doesn't have a job, and is renting in the UK.
So multiple things on that one that we can't consider, but the main one being we aren't currently offering limited company purchases, and we do have a minimum requirement, even on an individual basis, of 25,000. So it falls through the cracks on a couple of reasons for that one.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, just filling through the questions to make sure we have covered a couple of your questions, but if you've got any additional on that, do let us know. Stu Randall, any plans to go into shared ownership and return to higher LTV lending in the new year?
We are certainly at the moment. We're looking at our whole product. Sorry, Hol, were you going to answer?
No, I was just pointing in your direction.
That's all right then. Yeah, so we're at the moment we're going through our planning for next year in terms of how do we broaden our product set to support more specialist markets, and self-build is right up there. So one of our challenges right now is that our system doesn't necessarily support shared ownership in perhaps the way we'd like, but that's being worked on. So definitely shared ownership. Higher loan to value, yeah, we'd love to be in there, because certainly for first-time buyers, because that's a big driver for us as a building society. Getting people on the property ladder is a key thing for us. There's quite a lot of press at the moment about lenders wanting to come back into higher loan to value, but are being hampered by supply and demand, I suppose. So you go out with a great product and then you have to pull it the day later because you're just overwhelmed. So we're kind of all hoping to have a bit of a level playing field and have a normalized high loan to value market again, rather than being an outlier. So it's on our list. We're out there at 95% anyway with our joint borrower sole proprietor first time buyer product. So we are supporting high loan to values with some conditions there. And where we can get to other ones across the range, we will. So it's under constant review.
Jan, thank you so much for your private message. We won't read it out to not embarrass you, but the guys have seen it, so I really appreciate that. Thank you. So I think I've got one last question. Just, guys, we have talked quite considerably about the Expat buy-to-let products. We are offering criteria questions to be answered. So if you want to submit some criteria questions for the next 10 minutes, feel free, ping them across. That's across the range. So send as many as you can. We'll get through them as quick as we can. And any we don't answer, we'll come back to you after the webinar. So one last question that we got from Roger. This is not a buy-to-let, but a residential purchase. Applicant 1 in UK and employed, partner works overseas. Could he be on the mortgage with her, and could his income be used?
So unfortunately not. So they can be named on the mortgage, but what we wouldn't be able to do is take any of their income into account, because we don't have the foreign income license specifically for UK-based mortgages. Expats slightly different, but standard resi, no, we wouldn't be able to take the income into account.
Okay, thank you. Guys, just to remind you, we will be sending out a attendance email, say you attendance if you need it for your CPD, so do feel free to let us know if that's useful to you, and also any particular subjects you'd like us to cover in the future. We want to remain in regular conversation with you and finding out what you actually want. You know, it's not all about us. I'm only here to present. The guys are here to answer your questions, but it's nice for us to know what sort of questions you have. So if there is a product you would like to go over in more detail and a full webinar, do let us know. We'll be releasing our date for 2021 very, very soon, starting in January. So do let us know if there's anything that we can do to help you, or anything we can talk about for you. I think we're at the end of those. Any criteria questions, let me know. If I've missed any of your questions, please ping it for us now. We've got another 10 minutes to go before we get to the end. I'm sure I've answered everybody, but I'm just going through them now to make sure. No, I think that's everyone covered. If you've got any additional questions, let us know. So let's go on to criteria. Is there any news from Saffron first that we can talk about? Let the guys know anything that's happened over the... Oh, sorry, bear with me. Talking.
There we go.
Do you accept remote ID verification?
Tony, do you want to answer this one?
No, I think you can.
So at the moment, during the pandemic, we have been looking at electronic ID certification. We can consider them on where you aren't able to certify the documents. Just put a note on the case and then just provide the certified ID information electronically. So yeah, at the moment, during the pandemic, we can, and we're hoping that, we've done it during this pandemic, so we can continue it.
Yeah.
It's, moving with the times.
Yeah, I'll just back that up, because it's one thing I've spotted since being here, that we don't necessarily do it as standard. So it is something high on my agenda to make it easier for you to support us. So that is something that we will be hopefully looking to change as soon as we can.
Thanks across the board, isn't it? It's, everything needs updating to a more digital solution, but it's just been a slow process for everybody. It's nobody's fault. Jan's sent in a private message regarding, she wants some information on first-time buyers and 90% LTVs, which 95% LTVs, sorry, which obviously we don't know when the market's going to be suitable for those products, but just worth maybe talking about the JBSP, Holly.
Yep. So the joint borrower self-proprietor, we did a webinar on that. Was that the last one or the one before?
It was the last one.
It was the last one.
Yeah. So we do have actually on our website. We I'll take down your details. You're on our system, so I'll email you the link to that. So we did a whole webinar on it. So that is specifically designed for first-time buyers who are struggling with affordability and need a supporter to go on the mortgage with them. So what you're looking at is that the first-time buyer themselves can cover the minimum of 70% of the loan size applied for, and your supporter can then cover a 30% shortfall on that one. And then what you'll be looking at is the supporter, again, immediate family member. So we ran through that list slightly earlier. The deposit can also come in the form of a gift from immediate family members. And what you'll be looking at is that the term isn't affected by the supporter's age. That's one of the key points with that product is, if it is an older grandparents, as long as they're no older than 70 at the time of application, what we are looking at is their ability, the first-time buyer's ability to remortgage and refinance and remove the supporter in the next 5 to 10 years as their salary increases. So that's why we haven't reduced the term and sort of impacted the first-time buyer, really. It's just another helping hand to get them on the property ladder.
Great stuff. Those of you that responded to my comment about the CPD, it will be sent to you automatically for registering. And those of you that have actually viewed the webinar, that will come automatically to you from the Saffron team. So just to let you know, that it won't come from, I know your information about webinars comes from my email address. It will actually come directly from Saffron. So look out for those. They should be with you this afternoon. Okay, so we've got some questions coming in again. From Hera, does Saffron accept any benefit income in addition to employed income?
No, we don't.
Nathan, as a residential schoolmaster who is provided accommodation as part of employment, is looking to buy a weekend holiday home as principal resident, intends to work to 75. Can the resi go until then? He's currently 55.
Yep, so on that one, it would be a standard residential range. We'd need to obviously a little bit more about the case, so give me a ring after the webinar today, or Sophie's available today as well. But yes, on that one, we can look at applicants who are in tied accommodation and looking for a resi purchase.
Thank you. Melissa J beat me to it, so thanks Jay Tondon for sharing the link to the YouTube. That YouTube link there, guys, if you do click on that there, it's got every webinar we've done so far, and it will contain the webinars from 2021, so you can go back and reference it. Just bear in mind that these are recorded at set times of the year, and things do change when we're talking about LTVs and rates. They're subject to change, but it just gives you a background on the products. And I think is quite interesting to hear from the guys how they work differently to other lenders. So if you want to review them back, they are really good, even if we say so ourselves. They are available on that YouTube channel. Okay. Will you ever consider lending in Scotland, Tony?
Well, yes, I think is the answer. We consider it. It is one of those. I know it's always a challenging one because of the differences in the house buying process and the legal system, and that's normally one of the biggest challenges for a lender to overcome in terms of having to run two systems. But again, it's on our list to look at and review. I can't guarantee any more than that, but we know there's a sizable opportunity and brokers need support from lenders in Scotland. So I will certainly take that one away again and make sure that we do review it.
Brilliant. Question from Anthony. Do Saffron top slice for buy-to-let remortgages?
Yep, so we can consider top slicing on buy-to-lets. What we do require is that the applicant is an experienced landlord, so they know how to manage property, and that we will look at 50% of their disposable income. So slight manual calculation, that one, but it's 50% to top up them.
Okay, brilliant. From Michael Bell, what is the loan to value on the JBSP's split term product? Sorry.
Yeah, so it is 95% and it isn't split term. They both apply on the mortgage, and we'll just put them through up to 40 years. All we're looking at is the first-time buyers' affordability options in the next 5 to 10 years to then remo and remove the supporter.
Okay.
Sorry, just on that JBSP, it's probably worth mentioning that we do allow gifted deposit as well.
Very much so. How about Expat buy-to-let top slicing, Holly?
Yep, it's across our buy-to-let range. We can do top slicing for experienced landlords.
There you go, Gemma. That answers that question. Assuming new build expat buy-to-let lending is acceptable, which we have covered, are there any restrictions on loan to value for this?
Yeah, so new build houses are 75% and new build flats are 60% on interest only. We can go up to 75% on repayment expat buy-to-let for new build flats, but the general stress calculations that you'll find on our website are on interest only. We haven't actually covered the stress calculations, so just to let you know, on our 5-year fixed rate products, the stress calculation is 140% at the product pay rate. So it gives a nice generous stress calculation on both our 5-year expat and 5-year buy-to-let stress calculation.
Brilliant. Just on that note, we will give it away again. Just if you need any more information on any of these products, it is available. There's a lot of information going on to the Intermediaries site. So it's Saffron for intermediaries.co.uk. Contact details are on there, product details are on there, and calculators are on there. It's constantly being updated. Our website, there's lots of news on there as well. So do go along and have a look for yourself. Would you lend to yacht employees paid offshore in dollars or euros, Holly?
Unfortunately not, just because of their no fixed address at this time. If there is any fixed address, please do get in contact with us and we can chat through the case, but usually with anybody working overseas, for the majority of the time, there's no fixed address.
Okay, quite a long one from Carlos, so bear with me, I'm really reading this out. On expat buy-to-let concessionary purchase, you answered earlier, current mortgage calculator says maximum borrowing of 337,500 based on 1,900 estimated monthly rental. Are you able to accept amount of borrowing as 100% of concessionary purchase price, assuming the gifted equity being the 25% deposit?
Yes.
Yeah. All that for one word.
Yeah. Sorry.
So easy it is to deal with it.
Yeah, it's on that one.
Very finally, Holly has answered your question. Yes.
Sorry.
No, fine. Straight to the point. We're going over to Rios now. We haven't spoken about these for a while. Andrew Burgess, any flexibility on the loan to value for your Rio product?
Not currently. So the product, all the product LTVs at the moment are restricted as the product is built. It's the loan sizes. So when you're looking to go over our max loan size of $1 million, that's when bespoke pricing comes in. And bespoke pricing is available across the product range. So anything, one of the things that we do say is with the manual underwriting process, if anything was slightly out of policy or, you know, the underwriters had any concerns of it, so it's that stuff that we look outside, we might bespoke the pricing. So it could be a little bit of adverse that's outside of our policy, so we'll reflect as a price increase. but OTV restrictions at the moment are as per the products bill.
Great. Keith's come back again. Keith Robinson says, do you allow expat buy to live?
Oh, we don't. So expat buy to let are fine, but the expat residential at the moment we just don't do.
There you go, Keith. Tracy Barnes says, can you please confirm the stress testing with top slice are just reducing the 140%? Does that make sense?
Yep. So with the stress testing, you'll be looking at whichever the product you go on, so a 5-year fixed rate, you'll be looking at 140% at the pay rate. But with the top slicing, what we're looking at is the disposable income that the applicant has left each month to be able to then to cover the shortfall on the stress testing. If you ever need to run through again with the top slicing, just give us a ring because we can go through. We've got a background calculator, can see where any shortfalls are on the stress testing, but we can also talk through that top slicing element for them. But it'll be 50% of the disposable income.
Brilliant. Okay, we are at the end. We've just a couple of minutes left, so now just time for some news. So SFI Live is going to be back again in 2021. We're missing out December this year, so we're going straight into January. So come mid-January, we'll have a first in a series of 12, so one a month for all of next year. We'll be really, really pleased to hear from you as to what you'd like us to talk about and what questions I can post to the guys, whether that's in the market or we want to stick very much to product or a certain range of products. Do let us know. Please do email Holly, go to the website and contact us that way. Feel free to send them direct to me. You get my emails from my email account, so do feel free to send them to me and I'll filter through them and put them to the guys. Here's to the big news. Loads and loads of you wanted to speak to an underwriter. So we have some news. There will be an underwriter joining us in January. So look out for that date. So your chance to put your questions to the underwriter. Guys, you might get a bit of a breather on that one.
I'm fine. It's Holly that doesn't work.
We will be joining us in January. So we'll be releasing the date next week. So look out for that. And we'll send an email out. And again, registration due now. If you'd like to register for every webinar we do, so you get email updates, I have activated that on the site now, so you can click to say you want to register for every update, so every time we release a new one, so we can keep you informed. Thanks so much for your questions. Thanks, Holly. Thanks, Tony, for another great morning session. I hope we answered everyone's questions. If we haven't, feel free to get in touch with the guys. Holly, do you want to give out your email address?
Yes, it is bdm.enquiries@saffronbs.co.uk. And telephone number again is 01799 582 925. And as a reminder, if you can't get through initially, leave us a voicemail and we'll get back to you as soon as we possibly can.
Brilliant. That's it then. Thanks very much, guys. Thanks to everyone who's been watching, and thank you for your questions. And we'll see you in January.
See you soon.
Take care. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.